Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Lab on C++ programming. So in this tutorial we're going to learn about the recursion in C++. In C++, the functions are said to be recursive functions if they call themselves. For example, all of you guys know how to write a function in your program. So for example, let's say void display, and to execute the statements inside this display function we need to call this display function in our main function. So a recursive function is nothing but a function calling itself. For example, here this display function is going to call itself when executing the statements. So if it is confusing, don't worry, when we write the code it's going to be clear. Alright, in this tutorial for the demonstration purpose we're going to write a function which is going to calculate or find the factorial of a number which is passed to it recursively or by calling itself. So if you guys don't know about what is this factorial, for example, let's say if you want to find the factorial of 3 or 3 factorial, it's going to be 3 into 2 into 1. Similarly, if you want to find the factorial of 5, then it's going to be 5 into 4 into up to 1. So we can say that a factorial of a number n is going to be n into n minus 1 into n minus 2, similarly up to 1. In other words, a factorial of n factorial is equal to n into n minus 1 factorial. So we're going to use this technique and write a function which is going to calculate the factorial of a number recursively. So let me call that function as factorial. So it's going to be, and our function is going to return an integer value. So it's going to be int and factorial, the function name, and it's going to take a parameter. So it's going to be int, and let's call n. Alright, the next thing is when you write a recursive function, there should be a point where that function stop calling itself, or there should be a point where the recursive call ends. Otherwise the function is going to call itself infinite times and your program will be in the infinite loop. So to avoid that, there must be a terminal condition in a recursive function. So here in this case, to find a factorial, we can stop finding the factorial when this n value becomes 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to write if n equal to 1, then we want to return value of 1. That's it. Else we're going to return n into factorial, the same function name, of n minus 1. So here what happens is, let's say our value is 3. At that time this statement will fail and it's going to return 3 into factorial of n minus 1. Again this function is called, now 2 is passed, and again 3 into 2 into factorial of 1 is going to be 1, and this value will be returned. So 6 will be returned. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to call this factorial function in our program, and before that we need to do the function prototyping. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it before my main function and add a semicolon there. And here this factorial function is going to return integer value. So I'm going to use cout and I'm going to call a function directly. I'm not going to create any variables to store the value, and I'm going to pass the value. Let's say we want to find the factorial of number 5. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to build and run this. It says 120. So here factorial of 5 means 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So 20 into 3, 60 into 2, 120. So a recursive function is a function which calls itself, and in a recursive function there must be a point where the recursive call stops, or the function stops calling itself And this is it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. If you guys have any doubt, don't hesitate to ask us, and you guys can like our Facebook page to stay updated with our new video tutorials. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next tutorial.